Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to our series that we're continuing on Hinduism. And so far, we have covered two topics, and we received a lot of love and we received a lot of hate. And so, one of the first questions that was asked to me was, "Why am I doing this? Why are you doing this thing on Hinduism? Why are you making videos on Hinduism?" So, answer is pretty simple. Let's just check out a few areas. See, the whole thing is that Hinduism is gathering a lot of attention globally, and I have absolutely no problems with it. The problem is there are a lot of claims associated with this newfound popularity. Among them are it's the oldest religion in the world. It's the mother of all religions. And it's the oldest language, Sanskrit, mother of all languages, including those in India and overseas. And you see a lot of WhatsApp forwards that in case NASA decides to write its code in Sanskrit, the spaceships would work so much better. I'm not joking. So those are the things. And plus, okay, it's the oldest of cultures. Indian culture, so it's like it's not the African subcontinent or the Egyptian subcontinent where they had the birth of human civilization, but it is actually in India. That's said, and then it's totally non-violent, totally ahimsa parmo dharam. So it is like the ultimate in non-violent religions, and then it's totally vegetarian. Yes, you heard me right, totally vegetarian. And I know that many people feel that way. We'll be covering all these areas, and then there is no concept of heaven and earth, heaven or hell in Hinduism. Just think about it. There is no eternal condemnation. There is no eternal, if you do this, you go to heaven. If not, you go to hell. It is all up to you. You get unlimited chances to prove yourself and seek God and find God. It sounds so beautiful, no? It does. And that's where, even as I was growing up in Hinduism, this used to sound really very interesting. And that's where even a lot of gullible Westerners, especially Westerners, this becomes an issue. So embraces all religions. Buddha considered, where you see Buddha is considered as an avatar of Vishnu. Some even consider Christ as an avatar of Vishnu. Many so-called saints such as Sadhguru and all say that there is no founder. It's not an organized religion. It's a philosophy, it's a way of life, all those things, So I thought, let us do something about it and let us actually show to people who are seeking, who are learning, because for me, it was a big challenge because I could see a mass of contradictions as I was growing up in Hindu backgrounds. And then we see somebody saying Hinduism is a Sanātana Dharma, means an everlasting religion, an eternal way of life. It's a universal law. On that, we've already covered in the last video. In case you haven't, you should see it. And then, of course, it is loaded with science. Everything, you name it. Cosmology, medicine, gravity, planes, IVF, internet, space travel, Pythagoras theorem, algebra, physics, you name it, it's come from India. It's come from Hinduism. Did you know that? Everybody stole from India and they took it in their name. We hear all these claims. And then, of course, you have Hinduism saints such as Sadhguru who define Hinduism as seekers, Hindus as seekers. And so we are seeking. So in my journey through which I came to Christ as I was seeking God, I'm here to help shed some light on what actually is Hinduism. And no, it is not an outburst of emotion or anything. It was terrible for me because when I was growing up and I used to have these questions, it was very bad because I had no answers. So here I am doing what I do best, analyze, present the evidence. And as we are reaching towards the end of the video, I ask you to put in the comments, in case you're one of the haters or the lovers of what I've done in this video, to try and answer, who is a Hindu? That is the topic of this video. So till now, we have covered two episodes. One, what is the meaning of the word Hindu? In case you haven't seen it, you should see it. You can see the link on the screen, on the top of the screen now. Second, we have done is, what is Sanatan Dharma? And we have used ancient Hindu text to expose that is Sanatana actually everlasting? And what is Sanatana? So these are the two topics covered till now. And today we'll be covering who is a Hindu. And you will, of course, say, yes, all the people who follow Hindu religion. That is as stupid and silly as somebody saying, what is a woman? And somebody says, one who thinks is a woman. And then in the comment section, we got a lot of comments and even, emails and calls as to why don't you debate with Hindu experts? Again, for the nth time. We did invite many people like the propagandist Rajiv Malhotra, who calls himself a scholar. He first agreed to our debate and then he ran away. Until the nth moment, he said yes, and then he ran away. Then we even called Neeraj Attri, who just never responded. Apparently he can be contacted only if you want to donate to him. And we put a video on that with all the evidences there on our channel. And then we even spoke to Agniveer, who runs the channel, agniveer.com. And then one of our brothers even contacted J. Sai Deepak, who speaks a lot in Hinduism and more from the so-called academic and expert perspective. So we asked him for a dialogue, and his simple response was that he doesn't want to make us famous. Can you believe that? Whom does it sound like now? Of course, I'm sure you would know by now. It sounds like Zakir Naik. And that's what he said to us when we contacted him for a debate. That is, we are very famous. I am very famous, and you are a nobody. I don't want to make you famous by saying that you defeated Zakir Naik. So he didn't want to debate Zakir Naik. So here is Sai Deepak saying he doesn't want to debate with us because he doesn't want to make us famous. So that's how it is. So in the comment section, in any YouTube video, one of the things that I'm allowed to see is the YouTube comment section. And of course, our comment section for the last video that we've done was very, very interesting. So I took a few of the comments to put up and answer. So here is the Bible is also full of borrowings from earlier mythologies. Entire character of Jesus is, borrowed from other traditions, and also the varying accounts. So the central figure of Jesus, his birth, childhood, death, resurrection, all are inconsistent and they reveal contradictions. So all those things are there. And so he is apparently trying to say that everything about Jesus is borrowed from other cultures and religions. And if you speak to any expert across the world, whether it's a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim or an atheist or an ex-Christian, you'll be hard pressed to find any expert who would say that Jesus Christ is a figment of imagination. This you find only propagandists, especially Hindu propagandists, who would like to put across that who would like to put across that Christianity, Christ is a mythology. They want to bring him in line with their deities, where there is no evidence to back it up. But lo and behold, Jesus Christ is one of the most attested figures in ancient Near East. And then we see that this is attested across the board. We are like 13 odd historians who have attested to the veracity of Jesus Christ, of who he was, his birth, his death on the cross, and one has even gone to the extent of saying that his believers even believe that he was resurrected from the dead. See, so you can reject by saying that you don't consider him as a god, but saying that he's a figment of imagination is totally ridiculous. On the other side, I can ask you, what is the evidence for any existence of any of the Hindu deities, whether it is Ram or Krishna or anything? And they will say, oh, there is Ayodhya, we have a temple in Ayodhya, Ram was born in Ayodhya. And oh, there is Dwarka, and there is a temple in Dwarka, so Krishna was there, so Krishna is historical. Well, that is as smart and as intelligent as saying that, oh, there is a London. The book says Harry Potter was born in London. That means Harry Potter is true. Does it make sense? No. Then we see you have no right to speak of Hindu scriptures. You haven't studied under a guru. How would it feel like if somebody went to criticize Christ with little or no understanding of the Bible? Well, we have many people who criticize the Bible based on little or no understanding. What I have done is that I have given references. And what I would appreciate, I genuinely say that if you have anything to say on that, if you are an expert, please drop in a mail to the email address that you can see on the screen, and we'll be more than happy to debate you on that. And then somebody again, we are saying we are picking and choosing, and we are setting up straw men, we are doing a cherry picking, and Hindus don't believe in sola scriptura. So, well, if I am wrong, which there is a possibility, again, I'm not saying that I am wrong, theoretically speaking, please let us know where the scriptures have been interpreted in a wrong way. I don't mean to disrespect Hinduism in any way. This video is not meant to disrespect anyone. This is a video for those who are seeking the truth. Then somebody is saying, I think more preparation is needed for debating. Have you read the Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, all of them? I have given references. Are you even aware that those references even existed? That's the question that needs to be asked. So read the Puranas clearly instead of barking. I did quote the Puranas. Where did I go wrong? See, I see a lot of, similarities between the comments that you see from Hindus that I see from even the Muslims. You've not read the Quran. You should sit at the feet of a guru. And even in the debate with the ISKCON, even they asked Jerry, when Jerry quoted so many, when the ISKCON people quoted not even five verses they have quoted in the entire debate. And I had brothers Jerry and brother Praveen, they quoted more than 100 verses. And when they are unable to answer, they are saying, you should sit at the feet of a guru and learn and then come and teach and then come and speak. How is that making any sense? Have we misrepresented your faith in any way that you can say, see, you misunderstood? This is where you misunderstood. Please go and sit with somebody who knows the scriptures. You will help learn better. Nobody does that. Nobody gives any corrections. Even the ISKCON team in two debates, not a single correction they could give to any other verses quoted. Only thing was, you should sit at the feet of a guru and learn. And then there are hundreds of works of acharyas proving the truth in Sanatana Dharma. Go read them. Western philosophy will seem like a lamp in front of the sun called Indian philosophy. Just amazing logic, isn't it? Just amazing criticism. Look at this. Then you have no knowledge of Vedas. They claim that Indra, Agni, Mitra are all sky deities and was introduced by the British. Look at this. One is saying that Indra, Agni, Mitra and Varuna were introduced by the British. I kid you not, this was probably written by a Hindu because he had put up a lot of arguments, not arguments, statements and chest thumping. And then below that, somebody had even asked, so are you saying that the Vedas and all were written by the British? Because this is what the Vedas say. And I, in my last video, had even quoted the verses. Going ahead, in the last part, the comment section, when somebody said, Dharma doesn't have a fixed definition according to Sanatan Dharma. Only the people who try to understand without hatred, only those people only can understand, but not people like you. Amazing guidance we get. And so that reminded me of Sadhguru, who said, Hindus are seekers, not believers. This is something that I keep hearing. And this is from here I'll take my video forward. So they say there is no fixed definition. So Sadhguru even gives a definition that Sanatan Dharma is like God, like a parent, speaking to a child, and giving the child the leverage or the freedom to go and explore and learn. So then we have somebody like the Sadhguru who says Hindus are seekers, not believers. The base philosophy in Sanatan Dharma is God giving you, like a child, the freedom to seek and learn about him and come to him. Honestly speaking, that really sounds interesting. But there is a problem, a very big problem in that. That is, in the absence of absolute truth, how do you know that you have reached the right ending or not? There are many questions surrounding that. And this leads up to the question, who is a Hindu? So stay with me on this. Where does my search end? That is a question. How do I know that I have reached the ultimate? I have reached and understood who is God, or what is God all about? Is there a God? Second is, how do I know what I'm seeking for? In the absence of a goal, how do I know what I'm looking out for? That I should be able to find what I'm looking for. So this reminded me of a sage who reaches an intersection of roads. Multiple roads are there from that intersection. A guy comes up to the sage and asks him, where does this road go? So the sage says, okay, it goes in this direction to this thing. And then he says, okay, where does this road go? He says, it goes there. Then he says, where does this road go? He says, the sage then answers him in a peaceful way, calm way. And then the sage finally asks him, where exactly do you want to go? Tell me, I'll guide you. He says, nothing in particular. So the sage says, then does it matter where each road goes? So there is nothing in particular to be reached at the end, and you don't know where you're supposed to be going. How do you know that you have actually reached there? How do I know that whatever I think I see as the end of my search is actually the truth? Maybe it is darkness that I've reached, and I somehow think that darkness is the truth. How do I know that darkness that I've finally met is not the correct answer? Because in the absolute truth, there is no right or wrong. Let us see a problem about this. Have you heard about the word thug? It means an angry person, an assassin, somebody who steals and kills, right? You heard about, do you know where that word thug comes from? This is one of the answers for can we be seekers. So stay with me. This is very interesting. So the thugs, this was in India in the 1800s. So the thugs were a well-organized gang of professional assassins who operated across India for several centuries. From the 15th century till the 18th century, they were there. And they practiced the ritual strangulation of travelers as a form of worship to the Hindu goddess Kali. This is history. You can just search in Google and you will see. I'm not making this up. So you can trace the roots of the Thuggee back to the 15th century BCE, which refers to bands of cattle rustlers and robbers. The thugs themselves claimed that their practices originated from Kali's battle against the demon Raktabija, where she had assistants strangle the demon's duplicates emerging from the drops of his blood. So for them, the ultimate truth that they had reached was that they were serving Kali by strangulating and killing innocent travelers. I'm not making this up, guys. You should take a look. So what is the outcome of a search with no absolutes? What these people would do is that they considered themselves to be children of Kali, created from her sweat. They worshipped Kali with ritual offerings before setting out to for their murders. Can you believe they worshipped Kali, their goddess, before going out to commit the horrific murders? Strangling was seen as a form of human sacrifice which is sanctioned by Kali. That's why they were called as a phasigar. They're called as people who would strangle it. They would have a garrote in their hands. They would just, strangle the travelers. They would give them something like in Hindi it is called as datura. Datura, that's like a seed. And they would give them something so they'll feel dizzy and they'll be subservient and then they would be killed. Men, women, and sometimes even children if they thought the children would be witnesses. So these gangs operated across northern and central India, befriending travelers and strangling them before robbing them and burying or hiding their bodies. These led to be them to be called as phasigar or noose operators in Hindi. Phasi in Hindi is a word for noose. So they were called as phasigar, meaning like people who are handling the noose. They'd make a noose and kill the people. And that's how they would then give that what they had stolen from their victims whom they killed and dispose of the bodies to their goddess Kali as an offering. And you know what they used to believe in? According to sources, this is what it is. Okay, you will not believe this, but this is what it is. Thugs believed that they played a positive role in saving human lives. Without the thugs' sacred service, this is what they believe. Kali might destroy all mankind. So they were doing this as a service for mankind. So this is what they believed in. It is God who kills, but Bhavani has a name for it. So Bhavani is a name for Kali, but Bhavani has a name for it. God is all in all for good and evil. God has appointed blood for Bhavani's food, saying, Khoon tum khao. That's a Hindi for saying you have the blood. Khoon tum khao. Feed thou upon blood. That's a translation. In my opinion, it is very bad, but what can she do? Being ordered to subsist upon blood. So this is what they do. It might be bad, but this is what is required to be done. Bhavani is happy and more so in proportion to the blood that is shed. And I've given the reference of the books also here. And this is not just Hindus. This is interesting. In the absence of an absolute truth, you will find darkness. So the Muslim thugs, there were even Muslims. Can you believe this? There were even Muslims who are part of the Thuggee groups. So the Muslims, this is where if you remove the absolute truth, what happens? Now I'm not saying Muslims do not believe in an absolute truth. They have Allah, whom they believe is the ultimate deity. So the Muslim thugs, while retaining their monotheistic faith, had functionalized Bhavani for Thuggee, and she was syncretized as a spirit subordinate to Allah. I'm not making this up. This is historical writings. A Muslim thug caught by a Sleeman, I'll show you who's Sleeman, stated, "In my heart I take the name of God when I strangle a man, saying, God, thou art king. Allah to me Malik." That's Hindi. Allah to me Malik means God, you are king. I do not pray to Bhavani, I worship her. Other Muslim thugs who had agreed to testify for Sleeman, I'll come again to who's Sleeman, stated that they had assimilated Bhavani and started the practice of Thuggee. So that's what it happens. So if everybody is left to their own, what happens? So the Thuggees are believed to have killed hundreds of thousands of people over the centuries. Can you believe that? With 50,000 plus victims in 1830 alone, just in 1 year, 50,000 people were killed. A grisly record unmatched by any religious cult in history of mankind. The claim was that with each murder they committed prevented Kali's arrival, considered as an apocalyptic event for humankind for 1 millennium. So if you kill one person, Kali will not come for 1 millennium. So if you kill 50,000 people, that means Kali will not come for 50,000 millennia. So this incidentally reminded me, of the movie you might have seen, Cabin in the Woods, where they had a similar storyline. So if you sacrifice the victims, those so-called gods won't come and destroy the earth. So this is what even these people believed in. That is, they have the faith in Kali, and in case you don't give her a human sacrifice, then she will come and destroy mankind. So left to their own without an absolute truth of goodness, resting in the goodness of God, where does this thing stop? I can take this a lot more further. Some people believe in the caste system as good, it is required, and some people do not believe in the caste system, saying it is not there. Both believe that they are doing the work of God. The caste system is one of the most, rather, in my opinion, the most horrific and despicable and grisly practice done by any religion anywhere in the world. It is still there in India. And the people who follow the caste system and torment fellow Indians think that they are following the commandments of God. In the absence of an absolute truth, anything works. So can we be seekers? If you are seeking the truth and God has let you just search for the truth, why are the Thuggees wrong? Because they truly believed in the very core of their being. They knew that what they were doing is wrong, but this is required to be done for Kali. And this is what they would do. And how was it stopped? It was stopped during the 1830s. They were marked for eradication by the Governor General of India, Lord William Becknick, and his chief captain, William Henry Sleeman. You saw the references earlier. So with that, Sleeman began an extensive campaigning for using profiling and intelligence, and he was made the superintendent of the Thuggee and Dacoity Department in 1835, an organ of the Indian government first established by the East India Company in 1830. And that is where there are laws that you see for thieves, and there are laws that you see for dacoits. The difference being dacoits would kill and not just steal your belongings. This is another thought that you find, thing that you see, that I follow dharma. I am not a non-believer. I follow dharma. I don't follow God. I follow dharma. Have you heard the statement? I follow dharma. I am not a non-believer. Well, the question that comes is, what is dharma? The Hindi word actually means law. So they say, what is good and bad? I keep my focus on doing good. But does the scriptures interpret it that way? We see that in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most revered and worshipped books of Hinduism. And we see that what does Sri Krishna say about it? And he says in Gita chapter 18, verse 43, prowess, boldness, fortitude, dexterity, and also not flying from battle, generosity and sovereignty are the duties of the Kshatriya born of their own nature. Agriculture, cattle rearing, and trades are the duties of the Vaishya. Duty, the same word dharma. Okay, where you see the word duty, it is dharma. Born of their own nature, and action consisting of service is the duty of the Shudra born of their own nature. So the duty of, or the dharma of Brahmana is something else. The duty or the dharma of the Kshatriya is given as something else. And the duty and the dharma of the Vaishyas is given as something else. And the duty and dharma of the Shudras are given as something else. Now, in case you're wondering about it, I've put the link to the caste, exposing the caste system, on top of this video. You can click on it and see that, in case you're not able to see it because it's blocked in the United States and other countries. So we've put that video on other sites also. You can see that link in the description. Anyway, moving ahead, look at 47. Better is one's own dharma, though imperfect, than the dharma of another well performed. He who does the duty ordained by his own nature incurs no evil. So Sri Krishna says very clearly in chapter 18, verse 47, that each one's dharma is to follow the task given to his caste system. It's got nothing to do with evil or good or bad or anything. It's got nothing to do with that morality or anything. It is doing the duty that your caste system is asking to you is dharma. That is the definition of dharma. So coming to the core section of this video, the difficulty of knowing why one is a Hindu. Very interesting. Let me start off with the same question. Who is a Hindu? Let me ask you a question. Take a pause this video, and try to answer the question, who is a Hindu? Right? Okay, let's see what's the response. So I quote again my favorite, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and he says in his book Riddles in Hinduism, India is a congeries of communities. I love this country for this, actually. I'm saying this, the unity in diversity, so many cultures, so many religions together. So he says, India is a congery of communities. There are in it Parsis, Christians, Mohammedans, and Hindus. The basis of this communities is not racial, it is, of course, religious. This is a superficial view. What is interesting to know is, why is a Parsi a Parsi? Why is a Christian a Christian? Why is a Muslim a Muslim? And why is a Hindu a Hindu? With regards to the Parsi, the Christian, and the Muslim, it is smooth sailing. Ask a Parsi why he calls himself a Parsi. He'll have no difficulty in answering the question. He will say he is a Parsi because a follower of Zoroaster. Ask the same question to a Christian. He too will have no difficulty in answering the question. He is a Christian because he believes in Jesus Christ. Put the same question to a Muslim. He too will have no hesitation in answering it. He will say he is a believer in Islam and that is why he is a Muslim. Fair enough. Now, ask the same question to a Hindu and there is no doubt that he'll be completely bewildered and would not know what to say. You might have some answers. I know. I'm saying to my viewers. Let's just see what's the response and what could be the conundrums in that. Of course, the great Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar deserves rather requires no introduction. He is the father of the Indian Constitution, and I really admire him quite a bit. And if you've not already read, you should read his book, Riddles in Hinduism and Annihilation of Caste. Amazing, amazing books of literature, amazing research that he has done. And okay, let us start off with the word religion. What is the meaning of the word religion? Religion is to join again or to reconnect. It's a Latin word. It is made up of two words, which means gain, again, and lig, which means to join or connect, as in a ligament. So the word religion suggests the joining of a natural and human world to the sacred world. So that means religion is something that binds people together towards a purpose. Fair enough. As a Christian, I would say yes. As a Muslim, somebody would say yes. As a Parsi, somebody would say yes. So the question that comes is, what binds Hindus together? Let's see. The first response. Somebody will say that he is a Hindu because he worships the same God as the Hindi community. Well, that's not true. What do you mean a God? Because some are monotheist. So there are the Vaishnavas, some are Hindus who are monotheist, or the worshippers of only one God. So there would be some worship the god Vishnu, called as Vaishnavism. Then some Shiva, some Rama, some Krishna, some do not worship male gods. They worship a goddess Shakti, a goddess. That's called as Shaktism. And even in that, they do not worship the same goddess. They worship different goddess. Some worship Kali, some worship Parvati, and some worship Lakshmi. Well, someone might say that they're polytheists. They'll say, no, we worship Shiva also. I love Shiva. I love Vishnu. I love this. I love that. Okay. They will worship Vishnu. So the problem with that is they'll worship Vishnu and Shiva and also Rama and Krishna. They'll worship Kali, Parvati, Lakshmi, and a Hindu will fast on Shivaratri because it is sacred to Shiva, and he'll fast on Ekadashi because it is sacred to Vishnu. He'll plant a bale tree because it's sacred to Shiva, and he'll plant a Tulsi because it's dear to Vishnu. But you might say, oh, that's good. They are respecting all the gods. That's good. But the problem is, it doesn't stop there. You will see Hindus who will even make pilgrimages to Mohammedan shrines. I am from Bombay in India. We have a very big Haji Ali, which is a dargah for some merchant who was revered as a peer, like a saint in Islam. So as Babasaheb Ambedkar says, they even go to Mohammedan shrines such as the Shakti Parivar in Punjab, Haji Ali in Mumbai, and Ajmer Dargah, which is dedicated to Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, also known as Khwaja Garib Nawaz. And he is revered as a Sufi saint of the Chishti order, and a dargah is dedicated to him. The last part is something that I added to what Baba Sahib had put. For clarity, I put. I'm not saying that I know more than him, but I put this as a clarity. And then, of course, there is a golden temple for the Sikhs. So when you say polytheist, where does it stop? Because all these faiths have contradictory views on who is God and what is expected, what is the purpose of your life, why you're here, and what will happen to you after you die. So when you say polytheist, I can understand polytheism going towards the same purpose. And the statement, all road leads to Rome, is utterly silly in this context. So this statement, all roads lead to Rome, also makes no sense. It's actually silly. The reason being the definition of Rome is changing with the gods that you believe is the ultimate deity. Because as we saw, if you haven't seen it already, in the last video, I have shown that Shiva claims that he is the supreme deity. Krishna claims that he is the supreme deity in some books. Vishnu claims that he is supreme deity in some books. The Vedas claim that Indra is the ultimate. There are books where it says that Brahman, not Brahmin, Brahman is the ultimate deity. From that came Prajapati, and from Prajapati came all the gods. And in some books, goddess says that she is the ultimate. So where does it stop? Who's the ultimate? So when you say all roads lead to Rome, please define Rome. And then India has got something very, interesting. I would not say strange, interesting, and that's something that I used to love, is that the gods would change literally every 10, 15, 20, or 100 kilometers, literally speak. There are people I've seen in my own relatives' houses also, there are gods that even they don't know who they are. They don't even know the names. The walls are plastered with idols, and they have no idea who it is. But they are just there. It could be their family deities, their village deities, some deity of some mountains, some river, and all those things. So it's there. So when you say polytheism, so polytheism to what end? To what end? Respecting all religions, yes, I respect all religion, but that doesn't make me a polytheist. Yes, but I don't worship all religions because I know the ultimate truth is not in all the religions. And this is what we see that I've just put on some few pictures over here. We have seen the famous Hollywood superstar Akshay Kumar visiting Haji Ali, he's a Kattar Hindu, nationalist Hindu, and he is visiting a Muslim shrine. And then we see Sonu Sood and Tushar Kapoor also visiting Haji Ali, which is again a Muslim shrine. And this is just like well-known celebrities. There are millions of not well-known Hindus who visit these shrines too. And then we see the Bollywood superstar Amitabh Bachchan visiting the Ajmer Dargah, which is after a Sufi saint, which is a Muslim saint. And then Ajay Devgan, and then even one of the richest men in the world, Adani, going to worship at the Ajmer Dargah. And then Himesh Reshammiya, Sonakshi Sinha, so many stars, superstars, celebrities visiting Hindus, all visiting Muslim shrines. Now, again, I've got nothing against them. I'm not trying to cause a divide, but I'm just trying to show that the definition of a Hindu is not there at all. People don't know what to believe. And then again, the Rasul Islam, and this is the Christian, that we have this Mount Mary festival there in Bandra, Mumbai, India, and over there millions visit, millions. Whether it is Hindus, Muslims, Christians, everyone visits. It's massive for prayers, and then there is festivals, and there is good food and fun and toys and everything. So all those things are there, and people visit over there in droves to visit every year. So when you're talking about if somebody says they are worshipping the same God, does that point even make sense? And then somebody might say he is a Hindu because he observes the same customs. Well, in the north, near relatives are forbidden to marry. But in the south, cousin marriage is prescribed. It's okay. What customs are you talking about? And even closer alliances are permitted. As a rule, female chastity is highly valued. But some community set make some leverages in that. At any rate, prior to marriage, and make it a rule to dedicate one daughter to a life of religious prostitution. Devadasi, religious prostitution, is still there in the country. So what customs are you talking about? What is it? The question is, what is it that binds Hindus together to claim that this is our identity and this is why we are a Hindu? This is what it means to be Hindu. Then in some parts, women are allowed to move freely. In others, they are kept secluded. In some parts, they wear skirts and other trousers. We go to the same temple. Yes. So if you say temples, look at the temples on the left. These are temples from North India. Look at the temples on the right. These are temples from South India. Do they look alike in any manner? They don't. And this is, as a child, as I was growing up. See, all this is coming from my past, from my childhood days. It would be so difficult for me because my parents, my mother is from South India. She was a Brahmin of a very high order, and I would visit the temples over there with her, and I would look at the temples, and they look totally different. And if I go to North India or even in Maharashtra, where I was born and brought up, Mumbai, temples are totally different. So if they are Hindus and they are bound to be worshipping in a temple, why do the temples look so different? So that is something that needs to be thought about. Then what about the gods? Are the gods the same? As you've seen in the last video, it gets more complex. It gets more crazy. So here are some of the gods of South India, of the Dravidian culture, as it is called. One is Murugan, Nondisami. Again, to my South Indian viewers, I'm not trying to offend you in any way. I just picked it up from the net. And if something's got wrong somewhere, please forgive me. It is not intentional at all. So these are a few of the gods of South India. And as you can see, they look different to what we are seeing in the gods in North India. And these are some of the gods, as we already seen in my previous segment on North India. There is Ram, and there is Hanuman, and there is Varuna, and there is Shiva, and there is Vishnu, Ganesha. Look at them and look at the gods of South India, Dravidian culture. No wonder at this time there is a lot of ruckus in the country with regards to the Sanatan Dharma and the Dravidian culture, where the Dravidian culture in the South, which is definitely by any standards, and that's not me, experts say it is one of the oldest cultures in the world. Tamilian language is one of the oldest languages in the world. Very, very few people know that. It's not Sanskrit. Now that Hindi as a language is being thrust down their throat, they are rebelling against it. So that's where the hegemony of Hindus, as they try to accept, as they try to merge all religions, cultures, languages under their heading, other cultures are revolting against it because they are not the same. So what is it that binds together? So, but if you look at the certificates, say the birth certificates or the religion, whether the North or the South, they'll say we are Hindus. But then how can there be all these discrepancies? How can there be all these variations? This is something that's really, really used to bother me when I was a child. And so as I grew up, I had given up on religion as a whole. So that's there. And then the third response, he is a Hindu because he believes in the caste system. They can say that. But, if you think about it, this is something really deep. And I was really shocked when I read this statement in Babasaheb's book, Riddles in Hinduism, because this question that even I used to, jostle with when I was younger. And so let me demonstrate. A Shaivak is one who worships Shiva, and a Vaishnav is one who worships Vishnu. So a Shaivak girl, most of the time, or a Vaishnav boy won't have any problem getting married to a Shaivak girl. But what is really matters to them, caste. A Brahmin who is worshipping Shiva under no circumstance will get married to a Shaivak who is maybe a Vaishya or a Kshatriya, what they are basically concerned with is the caste system. When they go to somebody's house, this used to happen with me also. When I was a child and we would be going to somebody's house, what they would be first be worried about is the caste. If the caste is lower, they'll not even touch food or water. And if they come back, when we used to come back, we would have to take a bath because we came from the house of a lower caste. It was immaterial whether that person is a Vishnu worshipper or a Shiva worshipper or a goddess worshipper or a Ram worshipper or a Krishna worshipper. It doesn't matter. What really matters is the caste. But the problem with that is, unfortunately, even the caste system is practiced in a very horrific way, I should say that. Even Christian churches, we have seen somewhere that even Christian churches have, because they have come over from a Brahminical background or a Kshatriya background, they have carried the burden and the poison of the caste system into Christianity. But we see that in Islam too. Like there are high level Muslims. So a Sayyid's surname, a Sheikh's surname, these are considered as high caste Muslims. And this is not like a poison that has infected Christianity from Hinduism, where somebody is converted as a Brahmin to Christianity, but they still consider themselves superior to a Shudra who's become a Christian, even though in Christianity there is no caste system. This is wrong. But in Islam, a Sheikh, a Sayyid, these are all considered as high level, high caste systems. So a Sayyid coming to another family, which is considered as a lower caste in Islam, is considered as a very big. They'll give gifts and adoration to that person. So that brings back to the same question: who is a Hindu? So a question that, as we close this particular segment, questions for every Hindu. Is this not a question for every Hindu to consider why, in the matter of his own religion, his position is so embarrassing and so puzzling? Another question I would like to ask. Again, I'm asking this question with due humility, and I love you. So I'm asking this with humility. I don't intend to offend anybody. Next point I would like to ask is, why is he not able to answer so simple a question, which every Parsi, every Christian, and every Muslim can answer? Is it not time that he should ask himself what are the causes that has brought about such religious chaos? And that is the purpose of these videos that I'm making, to shed light to those people who are actually seeking. So let us look at the question: who is a Christian? So let us get in the points as what does not make you a Christian. What does not define you as a Christian? Points like lives in a Christian nation, goes to church. Going to church doesn't make you a Christian. Okay, doesn't necessarily make you a Christian. Serving people less fortunate than you, very noble and should be done, but that doesn't make you a Christian. Being a good person, following dharma as Hindus say, doesn't make you a Christian. Following the commandments in the Bible of doing good, being a good neighbor, being a good friend, being a good brother, being a good father, doesn't make you a Christian. So what makes you a Christian? What does the Holy Bible say about that? Titus 3:5 says, He saved us not because of righteous things we had done, but because of His mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by the Holy Spirit. So a Christian is someone who has been born again by God into the family of God. And we see that in John chapter 3 verse 3. We see that in John chapter 3 verse 7, in 1 Peter 1 verse 23, and has put faith in and trust in Jesus Christ. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8, a very powerful verse. Ephesians 2 verse 8 tells us that it is by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not from yourself, it is a gift of God. So a true Christian is a person who has put faith and trust in the person and the work of Jesus Christ, including His death on the cross as penalty and payment for sins and His resurrection on the third day. John 1:12 tells us that yet to all who received Him, to those who believed in His name, He gave the right to become the children of God. Look at the criterion. To all who received Him, that is His death and resurrection on the cross. To those who believed in His name, He gave the right to become the children of God. That defines a Christian. All this, doing the good things, going to church, being an honorable person in society, all those things is an outcome, an effect of being in Christ, not the cause to be in Christ. The mark of a true Christian is love for others and obedience to God's word. We see that in 1 John chapter 2 verse 4 and 10. And a true Christian is indeed a child of God, a part of God's true family, and one who has been given a new life in Jesus Christ. So if you're truly a seeker who's seeking the truth, I welcome you to seek in the person of Jesus Christ. Until my next video, take care and God bless you.